Now we will move to our second session. Our second session enjoyed today. It is under the subject, what are the efforts done by the government of Jordan towards all transformation and smart cities? I want to welcome on the stage our valuable speakers, the moderator, Mr. Mohammad Rawabdeh, promotion expert at Jordan Ministry of Investment. Also, I would like to call the engineer Hadeel Abdallat, AI Transformation Project Manager at Jordan Ministry of Investment. Engineer Sultan Al-Kharabsheh, IT Director at Greater Amman Municipality. Ahlan. Engineer Jabra Dahdal, IT Director at Aqaba Special Economic Zone. Okay, the stage is all yours. Good luck.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. And we're more than appreciating the efforts being done by Intaj and the co-organizers and our partners. Big thank you for everybody who contributed to make this event a success. Now, starting or building on the previous session, which was talking about the competitive advantages of Jordan and why it is an innovation and digital hub, we're trying here in this session to focus on the government side, the efforts being made by the government itself, the public sector, since all the other sessions will be talking about the technological trends and so on in the private sector side. So allow us to start by, first of all, let me make a quick brief about the session and why have we chosen those biggest two technological trends or emerging trends in the globe. There was an initiative started 2 years back in the Ministry of Investment where we managed to work on a future foresight plan for the ministry, trying out to maybe clear out the vagueness of the future for 10, 15, or 20 years to go. So we can maybe be compatible, be prepared, trying out to transfer our entity into a smart entity, keeping up with the latest technological trends and so on. So the two latest technological trends were picked up by us. One of them was the AI application in the business, and the second one is the smart cities. So having mentioned all the previous, I'll start with my colleague, Engineer Hadeel from the Ministry of Investment, since she is the project manager of the AI transformation in the ministry. And rest assured, Mohammad Sultan and Mohammad Jabra, I will be neutral towards you, despite the fact that I'm part of the transformation projects in the ministry with Engineer Hadeel. So, Hadeel, let's start with the backstory. How was it all started at the ministry, and what was the main objective back then when we tried out to come up with a plan to stay in the line with the latest technological trends? So, would you tell us more about the AI transformation? How has it started, and where we're going? Thank you.
Muhammad. Starting from working on future foresight, as you have mentioned, and as we are working to study the recent trends, and one of the most important trends is AI and its application in all sectors. And we have to mention that one of the most important responsibilities in Ministry of Investment is to increase the competitiveness of business environment, and it's one of the government priorities too. So we worked to find how can we enhance the delivered services to the investor. And we found that the shape of services are changing rapidly because of the rapid technology advancement, such as AI, blockchain, smart big data, and so on. And these technologies are becoming a driver for different sectors more than just enablers. So it's vital for all institutions to think how can we change our services depending on these technologies. So we searched about best practices and how can we transform our services in the Ministry of Investment. And we are proud to tell that Ministry of Investment is the first institution to start adopting AI technologies, and we have a strategy for AI transformation. Changing the shape of services will provide better services, better decision-making for decision makers and investors. So we will have more accuracy in decision-making, more engagement for investors in this transformation. We have found that the best way to transform any organization after searching about best practices to use proven tools and techniques to transform. It's not about having techniques only. It's about building an ecosystem in the organization depending on different pillars. It's about people, it's about culture, the leadership support. It's about having talents to lead the transformation in the institution. So we started to make a maturity assessment in the institution. Are we ready to transform? What do we need to transform? How can we build corrective actions to build all pillars to have a comprehensive transformation covering everything? So we have at the Ministry of Investment a transformation and innovation team now to lead this transformation effectively and in a successful way.
So having mentioned that the Ministry of Investment was the first governmental institution in Jordan to adapt some AI applications and so on, what was the backstory behind it? Why in specific the Ministry of Investment was selected?
It's an initiative from Future Foresight team after making deep studies and what's the best to develop services and to achieve a competitive advantage for Ministry of Investment. It's the main responsible institution to provide a competitive business environment.
Thank you, Hadeel.
Thank you.
Now, moving on to Engineer Jabra.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, where are we now in Aqaba in terms of the transformation into a smart city? What is the vision being bought by the administration there in ASEZA? What is the roadmap in order to achieve that promising objective and so on? Would you elaborate further on that?
First of all, thank you for inviting us here. Aqaba Special Economic Zone was established by a royal will in 2001 to be a global tourist destination and trade and investment gateway and module for sustainable development. Aqaba Special Economic Zone, it's a mixed-use special economic zone that all industries and communities and investment, tourists are well integrated together to give a module for future successful smart city. Currently now, ASEZA is working on a master plan with international and national partner. It will include also a social master plan that will make all communities live and interact and support each other. Our future projects, let's say, or we can say it, opportunities, investment opportunity. We are looking forward for Aqaba Medical Complex, and we are looking forward for Aqaba Olympic Sports City. We have also the Eco Science Park, also a green municipality building, and smart transportation system.
Having mentioned the smart transportation system, would you tell us more about that promising project?
Smart transportation system, the aim of this project is developing and establishing a smart transportation system in Aqaba city. And this one, the aim also to reduce the traffic in Aqaba city and to reduce the CO, reduce traffic with 20% actually, and the CO2 emission with 18%, and to increase the travelers in public transportation to 10,000 travelers a day.
Thank you, Engineer. Now moving into our beloved friend, Engineer Sultan. Would you tell us as well about the future plans, the vision, before that, the vision, the future plans, and the roadmap, and how would you achieve it, and so on, to transform Amman into a smart city?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. Sure, my colleague, after we finish digital transformation in Amman, Greater Amman Municipality, we are start to thinking what the citizen or what the people in Amman or in Jordan need. At this time, we are thinking what about the smart solution. Because of our relation from the World Agency, we have a donor from the World Bank and USAID about $1 million to build a roadmap for a smart city for Amman. At first time, we are join our all partner from ministry and the private sector in Amman, and looking what the Amman needs to move to smart city. We look for the all problems. At the first time, we determine what the priority of the situation in the Amman, and we have listed about 20 projects we should doing about 10 years. After that, we have a clear roadmap now, and we have a vision for a Greater Amman Municipality to move to smart city. To be honest, His Excellency, the Mayor of Amman, built a strategy to move Greater Amman Municipality about all projects to build as a smart city solution with partnership with the private sector and with the public sector. Some of these projects will be from our budget, and the other project will be about the private sector will be led in the next time. Yeah. Yes.
Is there a timeline to achieve that promising objective and so on?
Yes, we are divided our vision for 3 and 5 and 10 years for our goals. We now start to about 3 projects in Amman. About, I think, next month we will tender in the market. It will be international tendering in the market, these 3 projects.
Inshallah. We're keeping our fingers crossed for Amman and Aqaba as well.
Inshallah.
Coming back to you, Hadeel. Now, having mentioned that during the exercise that you managed to work on alongside the other project team members in the ministry, let's say the technologies were mapped and so on. So what were the most trending or emerging technologies that were picked up by the ministry to focus on and so on? Would you tell us more about those technologies?
6 technologies will be adopted in our strategy. It's a 5-year strategy for transformation, starting from smart big data that will provide a comprehensive plan or master plan for investment opportunities. Machine learning will be also used for providing investors with predictions and pre-feasibility study. for different opportunities, and this will guide investor to better decide about his investment in Jordan. AI and machine learning is used already in chatbot, and it was launched 2 months ago. And another phases will be launched within this project. It will guide the investor also to make decisions, to have a comprehensive idea about the ecosystem in Jordan, providing him with all answers about his questions. Also, blockchain will be used to regulate incentives and licensing for the project, and this will achieve governance, transparency, and more security for the investor. Virtual reality and Internet of Things will also be used within the 5 years.
Perfect. So, having mentioned some of the technologies, would you focus maybe on the added value from the investor perspective? What would be the added value for the investor when maybe the top one of those technologies being applied?
This will build the capacity towards excellency in the organization. It's very useful for customer or investor engagement and happiness within his experience. This will achieve transparency and governance, more trust. And about IoT, it will achieve better energy efficiency, for example, in the smart building management.
So it both works on the efficiency, where we're trying to increase it, and the cost as well. So there would be some cost savings and so on.
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Hadeel.
Thank you.
Moving to Mohammed Jabra. Now, would you tell us more about the challenges that you faced when you tried out to work on the smart city and the master plan and so on? Was there any specific challenge that you would us to be aware of, and how have you or how have you overcome it?
About the challenges, we have already implemented many projects that put Aqaba city in the roadmap of the smart cities. Actually, the last 3 years, we took the 3 pillars actually from the smart city. You know, smart city, there's many pillars for smart city. So we took the digital service and safe city and the logistic smart transportation. These 3 objectives for Aqaba. And let's talk about digital service. We already automate and launch more than 100 services, digital services with full e-payment and e-certificates, with mobile application. And in these 2 years, we will finish another 60 digital services also. We integrate with all the government entities for applying for these services. About the safe city, we had already 3 projects implemented already, and they are working now. It's the safe city, the control room. It's more than 450 cameras are distributed in Aqaba now in all streets and residential area and mountains, main roads, port areas and customs. Also, we have the smart gates for ports. It's smart gates with fencing and with towers. And also, we have the early warning flood system. It's working now in Aqaba, and it's helped us actually this year and the last year with the rain. And
can I stop you here so we can hear more from you about the early flood warning system and so on?
Flood early warning flood system. This system it's give you 1 hour 45 minutes in advance warning before the flood storm the city. Actually, it's contained with 3 stations. Actually, the first station, weather station. There is a 3 weather station. It's give you the wind direction, speed, temperature, humidity. There is 14 surface runoff station. It's give you the level of the rain on the ground. And there is also 15 rain station distributed in Aqaba city.
Thank you, Mohandes. Engineer Sultan, now moving into the available projects and the investment opportunities right there in the Greater Amman Municipality. Would you tell us more about the projects that relates directly to this initiative, transforming Amman into a smart city?
Yes. Let me tell you. As I mentioned before, we have 10 mega projects in Amman. We are trying to implement it in 3-5 years. First of them is the BRT feeders from the neighborhood. This is the first project will be implemented in the Amman. And the second project, it will be smart street lighting about the main street in the Amman. And we are, from our problem in Amman, we are talking about the mobility and the congestion of the mobility. This is it's facing us, it's the main problem in Amman, and it's the challenge for us. Now we are trying to apply a monitoring platform for mobility in whole street of Amman and put it in the control command system. After that, we are working to the early warning system. And we have some small project, for example, for the biking and walking for the pedestrians. All of these projects will be connected to the new platform to be a smart city platform. As you mentioned before, I asked my colleague Jabra about the challenges what we have. All of this, our challenges, we are already focused in our project about the financing. We have a problem in the financing model for all these projects. But as you know, Greater Amman Municipality has established a company, a private company, it's Amman Vision. We are thinking some of these projects will be attended to the private sector. I think this will help us for the financial model for this project. And about the legislation and the rules, I think we should work on this this legislation in Amman. We have 3 laws that are redefined in Greater Amman Municipality, like vocational license and the law of the Greater Amman Municipality are all modified now in this stage.
Now, if you allow me, since the most challenging aspect of facing the government of Jordan is the cost of energy, would you elaborate further on the initiative you mentioned about the smart lighting and so on?
Yes, it will save us about 60% from our bills from the electrical. But we have already another resource from the energy in Greater Amman Municipality. And now we are working about the waste management project in Amman. But as you know, the energy now is the trend of the all projects in Greater Amman Municipality. Street lighting, not it's just for energy, it will be established a new technology about camera and sensors for all the smart unit in the street. And we are now thinking about IoT and collect data from the street to manipulate with this data and to take a right decision for our decision.
Thank you, Mohandes. Coming back to you, Hadeel. Would you elaborate further about the pillars being picked up by the exercise you've been working on and so on, the main pillars?
The AI strategy will focus on main pillars like the execution of AI techniques, the procedures agility, technology, talents, mainly the enablers, technology, talents, ecosystem, infrastructure, finance and investment. Also, it will focus on building talent and building the culture in the organization to be able to lead the transformation with less resistance. So there's a part about change management in this plan.
So I believe this was very challenging since we're working on the change management, culture changing, and so on.
Transformation depends mainly on building the culture before talking about techniques. So it's important to concentrate on people and how they will be a part of your transformation process. It's mainly about culture and people to drive business innovation in the organization.
Thank you, Hadeel. How about the timeline as well? Can we talk about the timeline in your opinion? Is it really going to happen in the near future that we are transforming the Ministry of Investment into a smart entity that using the latest AI applications and so on?
Our plan is to execute the projects within 5 years, but we have many challenges actually. As you know, you are a part of the transformation and innovation team, so mainly we need to work about the availability of needed infrastructure, and this will be with participation with Ministry of Digital Economy. We need to work on to talents development, and this will be very important to mention that we need a participation, a real participation with the private sector to raise awareness about transformation and using these technologies, and with universities and research and development centers. We have also challenges with having a shared vision with the stakeholders. We need a shared vision, a shared framework, principles and ethics of using AI and other future management tools. We need to work on determining values that are shared among all stakeholders and institutions. So these challenges may be obstacles in executing our plans, but we are trying to overcome these obstacles. Also, AI still faces a problem with techniques that addressing AI. For example, machine learning needs a huge human effort to address and label the needed data for training. So it's about the quality of data that's needed for this transformation. We need to reassess the data within the organization and to work better to develop it.
Thank you, Hadeel. Moving into Mohammad Jabra. Now, having had Aqaba under the royal support and focus nowadays, would you tell us more why or what makes Aqaba a perfect location being transformed into a smart city?
This is a good question, Mohammad. Aqaba, there is many reasons to be Aqaba or to have a successful story for a smart city in Aqaba. First of all, the geographic location for Aqaba is the south of Jordan, and the geography of the location. Aqaba is flat, small city, so you can make the infrastructure easy. Centralization of decision in Aqaba represented by the board of commissioner of ASEZA. We have one decision maker in Aqaba. And we have the economic incentives and advantages for investors. And the last we have now the Aqaba Digital Hub. It's a big project located in Aqaba and will attract a lot of investors there.
I'm keen, and I'm sure the audience as well. We
are here
all keen
actually,
to know more about the digital hub.
Okay, I will not speak too much about this project. They are here already, and they can promote it very well. But I have some information because I'm the manager of this project in Aqaba. This is we can say it's an iconic project built in Aqaba to serve growing demand for the digital service. It's already attract international companies like Google and Italia Tel, I think, and Oman Tel. It's the hosting for submarine cable Google Blue Raman. Now it will be in Aqaba and it will connect east with west with the highest connectivity. And this project is located in the South Beach with 30,000 square meter land, contains 17,000 square meter data center and 5,000 square meter media building and business building, and 7,000 square meter for teleport, I think, services. This project will provide many services like internet exchange, cloud services, digital services, and many fiber optic consultations, VSAT services. Many of these services, I think they have booth in Ireland. They can promote for this project better than me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohandes. Last round, Engineer Sultan. So we all know that Aqaba is totally different comparing to Amman. So I believe the challenges would be different as well. Since the location is different, the area size is different, the population is different. Would you tell us more about the challenges that you're facing when you try to adapt the transformation plan of Amman?
Yes, sure. Amman is different than Aqaba. The most challenges we have faced, I think, is the population growth. So we now in the Amman, we are working about the planning to a new area in Amman for the population growth. And the other challenges we are facing in Greater Amman Municipality is the mobility and the congestion of the road. We are working now, it's about a new zoning, and we have a new planning system for the urban planning for another district from Amman for the population growth. But we think now, in 2 or 3 years later, we are working to a lot of legislation and rules in Greater Amman Municipality. I think about 3 or 5 years, it will be all of our challenges. It will be easy with the partner, with the other partners to solve these problems. But as you know, we have some situation in the land. We faced it in, for example, the street and some congestion building in some area in Amman.
Thank you, Mohandes. My distinguished guest speakers, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate the inputs that you've been trying to provide. And the audience, thank you so much for your listening. And we wish that we could have managed to provide you with the perspective of the technological trends and what are the efforts being made by Jordan government towards those technological trends. And we're keen to hear more about the private sector as well from your side. Thank you so much.